Hawks have acquired DeJounte Murray in a trade with the Spurs. James Harden becomes a free agent after declining his $47.3 million option, but he's expected to go back to Philly on a more team-friendly salary. We'll talk about that in a second. Bradley Beal is reportedly signing a 5-year, $251 million max contract to stay with the Wizards. Jalen Brunson is reportedly signing a 4-year deal with the Knicks for $104 million. The Sixers and P.J. Tucker have finalized a 3-year, $33 million deal. Bobby Portis is going back to the Bucks, 4 years, $49 million. Joe Ingles has also reached an agreement with the Milwaukee Bucks on a 1-year deal. This is where we begin the Daily Thread with Scout, Forsberg, and Giles. Guys, a lot of movement, including teams in the East adding, listen, not blockbuster pieces, but big pieces. Let's start with the Hawks, Forsberg. With Trae Young and DeJounte Murray now side by side in that backcourt, I think people forget they were in the Eastern Conference Finals just 2 years ago. Does this kind of vault them up, or are they not good enough around those two players to really make a huge dent?
We'll see if they make a run for Durant here. That would certainly spice them up. But just on the surface, I think they're in the mix, but I don't think they're in the upper cut. I mean, I think we need to see what DeJounte Murray looks like next to Trae Young. It's certainly, I know Celtics fans, a lot of them wanted a guy like Murray, and certainly watching him from afar, he's an intriguing player, but I don't think it vaults them up into that upper echelon just yet. And I think there's still moves that are coming for them. Will they get rid of Herder? And what's going to happen? It's going to thin some of their depth, so we'll see what happens.
They're players in the Durant sweepstakes for sure. They got some guys that people around the league like, so we'll see. They don't have picks, but they could trade future picks.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to be trading 2031 at this point.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But they're a good team, and I don't think they're in that upper echelon group, though.
Yeah, that's why I'd have them probably the way they're built right now is right around 5th in the Eastern Conference. They're ahead of the Knicks, but they're not quite there.
Who isn't ahead of the Knicks?
That's fine. But they made some moves, and people want to talk about, the Knicks making some noise here.
What do you think of that Jalen Brunson deal?
They got to get rid of Julius Randle if they're going to be good. I mean, or Julius Randle can shift his game, but as constructed right now, just even adding Jalen Brunson, who I'm a big fan of, and I think he's a winner, been a winner his whole life, it's still not enough because your best player is Julius Randle, and just the ball sticks in his hands, and that's not the way you win in the NBA, and definitely not moving forward.
Guys, the 76ers have been trying to put it together for I don't know how long. James Harden goes there, and no one's really sure what he's going to do. He ends up taking less money so that they have some flexibility. I mean, is that a team that, if they make another move, could be a force to be reckoned with?
I don't even think with the P.J. Tucker and you got the James Harden. So their lineup is massive, and the NBA has gone physical, and they're getting up to speed with that. So you have Tobias Harris, James Harden, Joel Embiid, P.J. Tucker, Tyrese Maxey. You got a big, strong, physical, athletic team. Great move from Harden. Harden has a lot to prove. He starts out by giving up the money, and I heard he's already in the gym working and maybe passing out those honey buns. He might not be doing that.
He's got to limit those honey buns if he's going to take that much of a pay cut. But I agree. They were one of the teams that really scared me, in part because Embiid is such a matchup nightmare, especially for these Celtics who don't necessarily have the physical big behind Al, at least, that they can joust with him. So seeing them get a little better already is concerning. And the same deal, got to go out there and prove it, and got to see how Harden looks, and will he come back fully motivated? But Embiid on his own. Damn.
And just one thing to add to that, they have an identity. They're going to be big, strong, and physical. They know how they're going to play, and P.J. Tucker makes that happen.
They're a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference. They're right there. And they could, if they gel right, if they continue to improve, then they could be there in the Eastern Conference Finals a year from now. The thing that scares me the most about Philadelphia is their name came up a couple times throughout the rumor mill this afternoon as well for Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant goes to Philadelphia.
That's just Embiid tweeting.
That ain't.
That's fine. You can tell me I'm okay.
You can sleep well at night, Giles.
The one thing,
I hope we know by.
And maybe this isn't fair, but I do look at Embiid and Harden together and wonder if they can make it work. And I sometimes wonder if they're both winners. Neither has been able to figure it out, right?
She's right, and they have to prove it. They're at the prove it stage, not at the we're going to figure it out stage. Yeah, they're at the prove it stage
and
right now.
And they don't have time. It's not like you can just sit there and wait. It's like, let's go.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
You guys talked a little bit about the Knicks and how they're not going to what do they have to do? Because listen, I don't feel bad for the city of New York that they just can't seem to succeed.
He just said trade Julius Randle,
or he could change his game. He could play a lot more with the dribble handoffs, and he could. His problem is he doesn't shoot the three and he dribbles the ball too much. So maybe if he adapts, he could be good, but he has to change his game or else they got to get rid of him.
Well, my question is, like, what are they doing? Not like what do they have to do, but what are the Knicks doing? Because it seems like they're unloading salary, but they're just stuck in purgatory right now.
I mean, Jalen Brunson's good. He's
good,
won.
But like that's like the most money that Jalen Brunson's going to get.
For sure.
You know, they basically, they're not getting a deal on Jalen Brunson.
And it feels like one move when they need many moves. Like, it's like, is that a piece that you can build around?
No, it's not that. He's a piece to keep them organized so they can finally, R.J. Barrett can now take that next step.
Yeah.
Hopefully for them, what they're thinking is Julius Randle could not be the primary ball handler down the stretch. Jalen Brunson, without Luka Doncic, did beat the Utah Jazz. So that team is not very good, but without Luka, they figured out a way to beat Utah, which everyone talks about Utah being a really good team.
Still a lot of expectation now. When you get that bag, now it's time for Jalen Brunson to go prove he can be a 1 or a 1A or whatever you want to say. And so I am eager to see it. What's funny for me with the Knicks is, wasn't it 2 years ago we're thinking, oh, could they be in on the KD Kyrie sweepstakes? And maybe that would have been a better spot. But now we're talking about Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. It just still feels like we're going to see Spike Lee and Stephen A. Smith having like forlorn conversations.
Just being sad in their expensive courtside seats.
But aren't the Knicks right now, after Brooklyn deals everyone away, won't the Knicks be in a better spot than the Nets?
Probably.
Yeah, right?
Maybe.
The Nets are going to be a dumpster fire here in a second. Right. So that's how this thing is going to go. Once
you never know. Ben Simmons, baby.
No, I do know Ben Simmons, baby.
Ben Simmons has done a lot of this, sitting around and not playing basketball.
In outfits like
that. Him.
He just sits on the sidelines anyway. He can just talk about basketball because he doesn't actually play the game. I think the Bucks are starting to look scary, right? A little bit. You got Giannis back.
Here comes their
healthy.
homer.
I am not. How many times do we have to discuss this?
She's right, though.
No, she's right. I just like, because she's not a Bucks fan, but because
I'm
of
not
her
a
roots.
Bucks fan, but I'm from Milwaukee, so this has become my Forsberg thing. Like, oh, Homer rooting for the Bucks, but they are.
Can we tie this into Kevin Durant? When you watch what the Bucks do, should we at that point do the Kevin Durant deal, Forsberg?
Ooh, that is a pretty good question. As I look at the Bucks, and look, just getting back Middleton is going to take them up a level. Now to add Ingles and what they're doing, that does scare me a little bit. I thought maybe Ingles would be like a sneaky Celtics target. You don't have to like get him right out there and wait and add him along the line. Same deal, a little older. But yeah, certainly this is the reason why the Celtics can't just sit around and expect to be back in the Eastern Conference Finals or in the finals or whatever. They have to go up another level. But I've been told.
But if we get Kyle Anderson, we're going to be all set.
I know
we don't need Kevin Durant to get there.
We got slow-mo coming. We're good.
All I know is that when Brian Scalabrine sat down at the desk for the draft preview show and said the number one thing the Celtics have to do this season to be back there is internal development. And all of a sudden, we're like, internal development isn't enough. We need Kevin Durant.
But Kevin Durant, in fairness, Kevin Durant wasn't even like a possibility a week ago. Like,
we spent the whole show on it.
It was like a pipe dream.
No,
right? You thought
no.
It was the Kyrie domino that fell first.
Yes.
No, it's either one or the other. Like going out there and getting like middle of the road players don't move the needle. If Kevin Durant's available, that moves the needle immediately. And by the way, do you guys know he's the hardest working individual workout player in the NBA? Everyone said they're enamored by how hard he works. That's not going to help when Jason Tatum watches him.
Tatum did come back from Team USA raving about it.
Well, can I just ask this, though? We keep talking about all these teams making these moves, and Scal, you're saying, like, you don't want to just be stuck there doing nothing. But if they add like a bench guy, like you talked about, top of the show, a big guy,
You want to say
minimum big.
What I'm asking
He's trying
is,
really
if
hard
Kevin
not
Durant,
to say Luke Kennard.
Well, I do love Luke Kennard. I would love that move. But if Kevin Durant ends up in the Western Conference, and these are the moves we've seen for the Eastern Conference, and this is what it is, are the Celtics not right there once again?
100%. They don't have to do anything. They can keep all their TPE. They can keep they'll be fine bringing everyone back. They would be fine. It's just when you're trying to get like that. You play golf or not, right?
Big golf guy.
It's hard to take off those last 2 strokes, right? But hey, when you go from 130 to 100, that's easy. 100 to 90, that's easy. But to get over that hump, that's a very, very tough thing. Now, you wouldn't want Kevin Durant, a 2-time champion, a guy who's been against the Golden State Warriors. If we match up with them again, right now, off the top of your head, if Kevin Durant was on our team, we beating the Warriors?
Yes.
Okay. So what are we having a discussion for?
Well, we're having the discussion because they might not get him.
Yeah, that's fine.
They might not have the best trade package, or maybe Kevin Durant doesn't want to come here. He wants to go somewhere else.
And that's fine.
So I'm just looking at the other side of it.
No, then you get back into the lab and you study the film and you watch. Why was that turning the ball over 100 times during the playoffs? Like, how can Jalen Brown become that second option when you need him to get downhill and make plays for others? You just study, and work on it. That's how you're going to get better. Peyton Pritchard needs to have a great year from start to finish, not this Dennis Schroeder thing that we had last year. What about Grant Williams? Think about where he came from and where he was at. So everyone's pointing elsewhere. We went elsewhere. We had Dennis Schroeder last year. That thing didn't work.
I think it's safe to say that everybody looks at the Kevin Durant thing and says, okay, if you don't get him, you don't suddenly fall to the 8th spot in the Eastern Conference. Yeah. But if you have an opportunity to get the best player, you go after him, because like your chance and your window to win in the NBA, it's not forever. It's not 10 years. Like if you have 2, 3, 4 years and you have him, that's why I don't understand why anyone would be against it, even with his age, because he's a good player. He's probably the second best player.
Maybe the best player in the NBA.
Behind NBA.
Maybe.
If you have that opportunity, I don't understand why you wouldn't grab it.
I totally get that. I'm just saying, he's only going to one team, right? So if he doesn't come to the Celtics, we don't need to be just supremely disappointed.
Yeah.
If he doesn't come here.
Yes. Right, it's not win.
We're not losing sleep over it if he doesn't come.
Right, it's not life or death, win or go home. It's not a couple of years ago when you're trying to wine and dine him and you're so disappointed because you need that.
Right.
But it certainly would like put you on like the 55 mile per hour and then put you on the Autobahn.
I'm just gonna say I didn't have high hopes when Kelly Olynyk was on that plane to do the recruitment. I was like, all right, this probably isn't gonna happen.